Coming up next on the spot, we got 2 live demos today for Thor, God of Thunder, and Darkspore. Next, Ben Haumiller reveals what's new this year in NCAA Football 12, and Aaron Sampson gets you updated on what's new this week on digital downloads. Sean McInnes gets his multiplayer off-roading on with interviews for Dirt 3 and MX ATV Alive, and we crown our first champion in our final round of Super Button Mashing Consolation Round. All that in an exclusive trailer for Fear 3. We're live and on the spot.
Hello and welcome everyone to Live on the Spot. We are live. I'm your host, Maxwell McGee, and we have got a fantastic show planned for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be kicking things off with a look at Thor on the DS. And to help me do that, I am joined by Matt Hickman, producer on the game.
That's right.
Matt, thank you for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
So Matt, let's jump right into it. Tell us about Thor for the DS. What is this game all about?
So to start with, it's by Way Forward. Really happy to be working with them on the DS version. It's an all-new story for the DS. It's not based on the movie story, so you're going to be playing something all unique to this and the other versions as well. So pretty unique here. It's a dual-screen game for the DS, pixel art, kind of old-school brawler, because after all, Thor is a kind of brawling guy. You're not going to find any stealth in this game.
He likes to whoop up on some fools. I've seen him do that a couple of times.
He does. He's got a big hammer. He hits people with it, and that's what that's his specialty. One of the other things going for the DS that we're actually going to show you here is Hell is a unique environment that you'll see in the Thor comics a lot, but you won't see in the movie. And we have a whole environment set to that. The goddess of Hell, Hela. You get to fight her too. So we do a lot of really cool things on this DS version that you won't see anywhere else. You won't see in the movie.
All right, very nice. So let's start with the story. Set the stage for us. You mentioned that this takes place outside of the movie storyline.
Right, it's in the same universe. All the same characters are around, but it's unique. What happens, basically, I don't want to spoil too much because it's a pretty cool story, is Loki feels sort of shunned, and he wants to get Thor out of Asgard. So he tricks him into going and summoning an ancient evil, Mangog, because he wants to save the day. He wants to defeat Mangog, and now I'm the favorite son.
He gets to be the big hero.
Yeah, that's right. Doesn't work out like that. Not
exactly.
So much. If you're a fan of the comics, Mangog is this larger than life, literally epic beast made of millions of souls, and he really needs Thor's help. So Thor goes around to many of the 9 worlds within that mythological world to try and find a way to stop Mangog from destroying Asgard.
All right, very nice. So what are we looking at here? I see Thor. He's picking up this poor helpless man, tossing him around.
That helpless man you're seeing is actually kind of a zombie. He's a undead Einherjar. You're in Hell right now, is what you're seeing, and Thor needs to battle his way to Hela because Hela may have the key to what's happened to Sif, one of the other gods of Asgard, and he needs to find Sif because she's fallen in combat and doesn't want her to reside in Hell. So something else unique to our kind of a side plot. So he's battling his way through different creatures in Hell here. And what we just showed there is you can pick up any of the creatures, you can use them to throw them at other enemies, you can knock guys down, you can pick up pieces of the environment. You'll be able to knock down bridges and pillars.
And you
really
can
cool.
travel between the 2 screens as well, correct?
Yeah, all the combat takes place across 2 screens. You can do big jumps like that. You can dive down like that.
Kaboom.
Pretty cool. As you defeat enemies, you'll notice that you pick up health and energy orbs. And these energy orbs power up your elemental god powers. You can wield lightning or thunder or wind.
So is it like a level up system? Am I getting experience, or am I just like collecting these power-ups at set points?
So we also have those. We have a rune system. So as you move through the world and destroy parts of the environment, you'll find rune stones that you can upgrade your helm or upgrade Mjolnir. For instance, if you attach to Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, when you hit an enemy, it'll cause splash damage to other enemies around it. Or if you attach it to your armor, you'll be able to run faster, or you take less damage. but that's actually separate from the elemental powers that you can summon. Pretty cool just by tapping the touch screen, and like this, you'll be able to summon lightning and take out all the enemies. And each of the elemental powers has kind of a different benefit. The wind powers are great for taking down aerial enemies, thunder for destroying ground enemies.
So folks, just as a quick aside, we are live, so please feel free to send us your questions via Twitter, Facebook. You can drop them in the live chat, and I will be checking that out every so often and try to work them into the show here. So yeah, let's move right on. You were talking about the special abilities for Thor.
Sure, yeah, actually it'd be great. We can switch to one of our bosses, Hela, actually, who's unique to this one, and you fight her. We'll watch that fight. It's pretty cool while I talk about the god powers.
Okay.
So as you move through, like I said, you use those 3 different elemental powers, and they're all have their own unique visual style. They all have their unique effects. But actually, I'm going to talk right there quick about the art. You saw the that first portrait. That's actually from Mark Brooks, who's a Marvel comic artist. He did all of these portraits. Very awesome art, and it's kind of a cool retro style that WayForward is so amazing at. That kind of pixel art mixed with this cool comic style, and we have a lot of those kind of retro throwbacks in the game. There's an unlockable portrait gallery, so you can view all that awesome, not quite 8-bit sound, but sounding effects. You can play through all that. You can play all the music in the main menu, unlock all those things.
Yeah, we talked about earlier, you said there were quite a number of sort of retro unlockables in the game. Are there any others you haven't mentioned yet?
There's challenge rooms where you can drop into a themed kind of arena that's themed like each of the worlds that you'll visit, and fight different enemies from there and just survive as long as you can. There's another mini game that is a pretty fun little, just kind of a fun little aside. I don't want to ruin it because it's kind of a cool unlockable. And then there's also a unlockable Warriors 3. So if you're a comic fan, you can unlock this mode where you play as the Warriors 3, which are kind of it's a well-known thing in the comic universe, and you'll be able to run through defending Frostgrinder, which is it's like a god teleportation system. The other big thing that I'd like to jump to now, if we can, is one of our dual screen bosses. That's kind of the hallmark of the game, is dual screen combat and dual screen bosses. And what you'll see right here is Surtur, who's the Lord of Muspelheim, and he holds this sword called Twilight that's made of Scabrite and all these other awesome names, these epic sounding things. It sounds
pretty epic, yeah.
Yeah. And you need Twilight to destroy Mangog, who's attacking Asgard.
Naturally.
So this is this is Surtur in the fiery flesh, and it's just such an epic entrance. It's one of those let the game talk for itself on this one. And this is one of the really exciting parts of working on and them playing this game, is these huge fights that you just wouldn't think are possible on the DS. And from the very beginning, we've talked to WayForward that the 3DS is coming. So we and WayForward wanted to channel all that experience, all that time and knowledge of the platform into something that pushed it to its absolute limit. And I mean, you can see right here that you don't see anything like this on the DS.
So how's this boss fight going to play out here? I see he's totally trying to shish kebab poor Thor, who's down there on the bottom screen.
So what he's going to do is, whenever his sword gets stuck in there, he's going to try and break off the coating that's on Twilight and break it apart into little shards. So it's kind of the classic repetition-based one, so you can see the pattern that's going on, and then you exploit it. So if you jump up and attack his hilt there, you'll be able to take out the sword and then eventually defeat Surtur and win the day and move on. Getting killed. Take him out.
Oh. He's trying.
Fly up there. Fly up there.
And then you've got the whole...
Yeah, you got the fireballs. You got a lot of that just stuff flying all over the screen. These big old epic fights.
And as always, people, feel free to send us your questions via Twitter, via chat. I am looking at that right now, actually, as this boss plays out. Nothing so far, but we're getting there. All right, so I think we're gonna jump ahead to another part here. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think we'll jump to another
You
area.
want to set up what we're about to look at?
Yeah, we're gonna check out Emir, who's the Lord of one
You
of
gotta get all those names
Niflheims.
and everything straight.
Niflheim.
Yeah.
Right, Niflheim, the
I won't
ice
ask you to
planet.
spell it, but-
No, please don't. That's not my forte. Emir is the Lord of Niflheim, and he's one of the first allies that Loki summons to, trick Thor away, and he's the ice god. So we can cut back to him, and he's this great big ice guy, another one of these dual screen bosses that's gonna throw everything he can at you. Literally throw boulders of ice, avalanches. Oh, those very cool, epic reveals.
Yeah, here he is rising up out of the snow.
Oh my god.
Whoa! So I think I actually fought this guy when you had a press event not too long ago.
Yeah, how'd you do?
He almost got me, but I managed to pull through right at the very end.
He's one of the tougher ones. The dual screen guys are pretty tough.
It wouldn't be so bad if he doesn't drop the minions in. That's what always gets me.
Right. Yeah, he summons
I want to
guys.
focus on the guy, and here he is dropping his little buddies in. They're totally wailing on me. I'm trying to focus on one thing at a time.
He comes with the avalanche. That. And then he drops in the background. He's throwing boulders at you. I mean, you can't. Well, Thor can compete with that.
And then later on in the boss fight, he totally gobbles you up.
Yeah, that's one of the coolest things. That's, again, pushing the technology. The fact that he'll bring you inside of him and you have to destroy his big ice heart and then pound your way out of his chest.
Bust out of the front there.
Just so epic.
So yeah, this game looks great. Can you remind the kids at home when it's coming out and when it's coming out?
So all the versions, that's DS, Wii, PS3, 360, out May 3rd. That's right before the movie.
All right, very nice. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so we are going to kick it to our first tape segment. We're going to be taking a look at NCAA Football 12, so let's jump to that.
Interview.
Hey folks, Sean McInnes here alongside Ben Hommler from EA, who's here to tell us all about NCAA Football 12. Ben, let's start by looking back at last year's game. What do you guys think you got right, and how did you focus in on the areas that needed improving for this year's iteration of the game?
I mean, last year was a huge year for us visually. Big upgrades with linear lighting allowing us to add things like player self-shadowing too, so things looked really great in certain times of day, certain aspects, certain areas. But this year we wanted to really make sure that the game looked great from everywhere. And so with that, you're seeing a lot of addition to the exposure of the camera through HDR lighting, which really allows it to look great even in shadow, even in the dark side of the game. You'll see a lot of great exposure and great, different parts of the uniform, the players coming to life like never before.
Now, you guys have done a lot to the presentation, like you just said, and that's very interesting because you have a lot of unique school characteristics in there, these sort of celebrations and presentations that are unique to these different colleges. How do you go about filtering fan suggestions? Because everybody's got their alma mater, everybody's got their favorite school, and I'm sure everybody's got their own suggestions as well, right?
Of course. I mean, that's one of the things with college football that's so great is every school is so unique, and there are so many cool elements about each school that make them so different from one another. And so it's really a key of trying to get those different parts of the game, parts of the schools into the game. And so you're seeing things like Bevo for Texas. You're seeing the Bulldog run out for Louisiana Tech. So we do try and touch a lot of different schools and get a lot of different things in there. So if you're a fan of Georgia, you're going to see UGA. If you're at Wake Forest, you're going to see the Demon Deacon riding out on a motorcycle. So a lot of different depth and a lot of different things for each school.
Now, it's not all about presentation because at the end of the day, this is a football game. People have the controller in their hands and they want to go out there and make some tackles. So what have you guys done on the field this year?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's really a part of football is the collision and that point of impact and what happens at that point of impact. And so the new collision animation system is really all about how tackles begin and how blocks are started and how the receiver goes about making the catch. So things don't happen until there's contact on the field. So you're not going to see players slide around or look like they're on ice, just warping into position to make a tackle.
And Ben, I imagine one of the most difficult parts of your job is, every year with each subsequent iteration of the game, it's just the idea of, adding new features into the game where you're trying to get people who aren't so familiar with the NCAA football franchise, but at the same time, you want to keep the diehard fans happy. So talk about maintaining that balance this year in terms of new features and changes and tweaks.
Well, yeah, I mean, for us, really, it's all about our community and what they want to have. We have a great group of fans out there that love to tell us what they love about the game, and also what they don't like. And so we really want to go through and try and address those every year and make sure we're making sure everyone's happy with what we're doing. So things like zone coverage and adding that into the game this year, a lot better zone coverage. It's going to run just like a real zone does in real life, where you see players handing off receivers from one side to the other. You're not going to see a player in zone coverage just standing out in the island anymore while everyone's on the other side of the field. They're going to shade more towards the middle of the field and try and help out where they can. So a lot of great additions as far as zone and just what we're doing there to really make sure that everyone's playing the game, that knows what how a zone coverage should work, feels like it works just right in the game.
Sounds good. Ben, one last question for you. When is the game going to be out in stores, and which platforms will it be out for?
It'll be on stores July 12th for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
Thanks a lot. There you guys have it, NCAA Football 12.
All right, folks, and we're back live on the GameSpot set. I'm your host, Chris Waters. I had to attempt a manual override on Maxwell McGee. Got a bit technical, but now I'm here with Tom Magrino and the news.
How's it going?
It's going great, man. You have a whole stack of paper
I
here.
have. Well, it's a small stack. It is a stack.
Judicious use of highlighter, I see.
Yeah, I figured I'd prepare for this.
Excellent.
It seemed like a good idea.
So tell us,
prudent.
what have you prepared?
It's been a rough week for Sony.
Yeah.
Especially today. Because as many of you probably know, the PlayStation Network kind of isn't functioning, shall we say?
Not so much online as off?
Mostly fine offline, not so good online. The reason for that, we don't actually know the reason for that. Right now, Sony is saying that certain functions of the PlayStation... Is it okay if I look at my notes?
It is absolutely okay.
Does it impact my gravitas?
Not at all,
okay.
no.
Certain functions of the PlayStation Network are down. A statement from Sony was, while we are investigating the cause of the network outage, we wanted to alert you that it may be a full day or two before we're able to get the service completely back up and running.
2 days?
2 days at most. Actually,
Maybe.
It would be more. It could be less. We don't know at this point. They haven't told us what's wrong. Anecdotally, we found that we can't sign on. So when they say certain functions are down, they mean all functions are down.
Which, I mean, a week where, Portal 2, Mortal Kombat, SOCOM 4.
It could have gone better.
Could be better timing, but,
right.
I guess they have top men on it.
I would assume that there are men or women on this trying to fix it,
okay.
But they haven't indicated in any way when this will be back. But hopefully soon. Check for GameSpot. We'll let you know when it's back. But that's not the only Sony-related oops this week.
More oopses?
Yeah. One game that you won't...
right?
Maybe. Oopses? With an ES? I don't know. One game that you won't be playing anytime soon on PlayStation Network is The Last Guardian.
Aww.
That's Team Ico's... Ico? I think it's Ico.
Let's go Ico.
That game, it's been delayed. It was supposed to come out holiday 2011. But the Team Ico lead, Fumito Ueda, said that to provide more challenging and better quality of content to users and to fulfill first-party studios' obligations, I decided to postpone its release timing. The other thing about that is he didn't actually say when. There was no updated guidance on when the game.
It wasn't like you'll see it next spring. It was like later.
I hope to be done with this before I'm dead.
In my lifetime.
Is basically where he was going.
Okay.
It seems likely, but probably next year. But who knows? And then the other game that was delayed along with that was the Team Ico collection, which was supposed to be the HD remakes of Ico and Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to that. I mean, I
think
guess
a lot
I
of people
am still, but
right.
I'm going to have to wait a little longer.
Yeah, and then those are the same deal where we don't know if it's going to be later this year or into next year. It's just not really clear.
Delayed till the nebulous future.
So that's Sony oopsie number 2.
Yeah.
Number 3 is
there's 3?
For all of you out there who enjoyed the PSP Go. Don't expect its installed base to grow much. Sony announced, in Japan at least, that the PSP Go is ceasing production. They're not going to be making it anymore. They're shutting it down. I mean, the thing about this system was nobody really cared about it in the first place. I mean, I'm sure there was, the engineers' mothers cared about it deeply.
Absolutely, they're very proud.
Right, but as far as, a consumer retail product.
Did not get a lot of traction.
Didn't get a lot of traction. Yeah. In Japan, at least. I mean, we cover Japan's, hardware and software releases weekly. And there are weeks where, the PSP would outsell the PSP Go by, a ratio of 1,000 to 1.
Wow.
So just not a lot of traction.
Really
it seems like this is probably a good move for Sony. And what they said about it was that they're just going to be refocusing those resources on next generation portable NGP, which we should be hearing more about soon.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that
Yeah,
too.
that's all right. PSP Go. You gave it the old college try.
You gave it the old college try. You saw how this whole UMD list, no disk format would work, and
now
you
we're
saw
moving on.
there were things that were seen. So okay, that's it from Sony.
All right.
Other cool stuff happened this week. Did you ever play Alice for the PC? American McGee's Alice?
No, but Kevin Van Ord doesn't stop talking about that game ever.
Right. So, like me, never played it, but if you pick up Alice Madness Returns, the new Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 game,
yes,
they're going to be packing in the original Alice with that game. So they'll give you a one-time use code when you purchase the game, and you'll be able to download it. Right. And so there are two things to note about it. One, it's not going to be released as a standalone product, so you need to buy the new Alice Madness Returns if you want to get the original
Alice. I can't just plan on plopping down some
right.
points and downloading.
But if you pick up the game secondhand, like if you rent it or get it, used at GameStop, then you can pay $10, and then you'll be able to. Or is it? Yeah, you can pay. You can pay to get the game.
Okay, so the code will work for a free download once, but then we'll also give you access to a paid download subsequently.
Right. Well, no,
Something like
it's
that?
more like if you pick up the game used. Presumably the one-time use code has been used.
Yes.
So then you will be able to buy it. Think of it a bit like the way they do online modes for like Tiger Woods, where if you pick up the game used, you need to pay some money to get into the online stuff.
Get that access.
Right.
Okay.
So it's all an access thing, but you will need to have the disc in the machine to play the original Alice. So. Two caveats, but still.
Well, that's cool because that's a cult classic revered by many, and the fuel for why we're even seeing Madness Returns.
Right. Yeah, it came out for the PC in 2000, so it's been a while.
It has been a while.
Can't really be blamed for missing it.
Cool. Does that wrap up our news?
I got one more for you.
Oh yes.
Are you ready for this?
Excellent.
It's a big one. It's a rumor.
I am now braced. I'm now braced for this thing that may or may not be true.
Probably. Who knows? Okay. So Sony. E3,
yes.
Many people are expecting Nintendo to announce Wii 2 or Project Cafe or however you want to talk about it.
Yep.
The good thing about this for Nintendo is they probably won't have much competition from Microsoft or Sony, because right now the rumor, at least, is that neither company is planning on releasing a new console until 2014.
2014.
2014.
It's like 3 years.
That's like 3 years from now. So there's still.
I guess.
It is 3 years.
Let me just. Yep, we got Sean. You got that? Yep, we got our math man backstage working on that.
Checks out.
Cool. Thanks.
So. Yeah, 2014. The sources are saying that the two are telegraphing to one another that we'll hold off if you hold off. I think that might be collusion. I'm not sure.
Isn't there, like,
there might be an
antitrust laws or
element
something?
of illegality there, or the legality may be in question. But the other important thing to note is that if either is feeling like, oh my God, we need to go now, they're apparently in a position to launch in 2013.
Okay.
So, but it doesn't sound like Wii 2 will have much competition.
Yeah, it's a stark contrast to like all these like very solid rumors coming in from many different sources about the Wii 2 earlier this week.
Oh yeah, there's been a massive flux of rumors surrounding the Wii 2. I mean, right now it's supposed to have a controller that's kind of like the iPad. It's got buttons everywhere, and you can like signal aliens with it, and
that yes,
pretty cool.
We talked about it on the Hotspot pretty extensively as well. So give that a listen if you're curious for more Wii 2 information and wild speculation.
Right. That's all the wild speculation I have for right now.
Awesome. Tom, thank you so much for bringing the news by. You did a great job, I got to say.
Thank you.
Well done.
I try.
Folks, now we're moving on, and we have what we call an exclusive trailer coming up for you next. Exclusive means you watch it here and not anywhere else. It's an exclusive trailer for Fear 3, or Threer, if you want to be weird about it. But without further ado, we're going to roll this thing, and I hope you enjoy it.
We were brothers, prototype commandos in the emerging field of psychic warfare. I was the favorite. I gave them what they wanted. I gave them blood. They say the synchronicity with my mother made me homicidal. He was the first prototype. His enhanced reflexes made him an unstoppable killer. When my brother found me, he put a bullet in my head, but our psychic link never broke. Like a curse, bound by blood.
All right, folks, we are back live on the spot. Tweet us your questions to @GameSpot or sound off in the chat room. We'll be taking them. We'll be addressing your issues, concerns, questions, and of course, Sean McInnes is with me. Hello, Sean.
I got a haircut since that NCAA football interview.
Yeah, little time travel.
Yeah, that was a live interview, and I just literally got a haircut. Frank Adams gave me a haircut.
Is
He's really
that
good.
flurry
really
of
good.
like hair that is now sort of hovering about 6 feet in above? Apparently,
Yep.
that's like the stratosphere area. All right, you got a controller in your hand.
Aerosphere.
We, folks, are firing up Portal 2 right
That's
here on
right.
set. Because that game totally came out this week. It's awesome.
Yep.
And it's got a cooperative mode that we are going to play in order to get you psyched for game night. Because as you heard before, it's community game night at the end of this show. Stick around, and we'll be playing Portal 2 with you and Mortal Kombat.
The kids call that duo Portal Combat. See what I did? It's like two words that don't necessarily go together all the time.
This is where Sean explains
but in
rhymes
certain
to
scenarios,
the audience at
this
home.
one works.
It's very helpful.
Portal rhymes with mortal.
So yes, we will be playing these games. Sorry, PlayStation 3 owners. Sony's really not coming through for you. Not going to be able to join us this time around. But if you got PS3 or if you got Portal for PS3, fire up that Steam code. You'll be able to play with us on PC or Mac.
Yeah, also, while we're playing, feel free to tweet us questions to the @GameSpot account, and we'll try to do our best to answer them in a factually correct manner, but no promises, because, Chris.
Question here from Hanify in the chat room. So you're using the inferior Xbox version. Ho, ho, ho. It's not inferior. Come on, that's hurtful. Xbox is listening. Valve is a PC developer, and if you play the game on PC, yeah, it's going to look sharper. But hey, guess what? That's the case with all games that come out on consoles and PC.
Also, I'm sitting in a chair with no desk on it, so if I was to use a mouse and keyboard, that would look really awkward.
That'd be tough. All right, now get your D-pad up. You need a gesture. Seriously though, Portal 2. You play it on all three platforms, you're going to have the same awesome experience. Really, the only substantial difference is that PS3 PC connectivity we talked about earlier, and the fact that if you buy it for the PS3, you get a code to activate the game on Steam on your PC or Mac, which is pretty cool. And the connection between, when you're playing one dude on PS3, one on the PC, totally works very, very well. Question, Chris, are you an alien? Not to my knowledge. Okay, cool. So, Portal 2, we're playing this now. Sean, we're learning about pinging. This is a neat little tool where you point at stuff. I'm going to pick my favorite animal, which from this list is going to be the rhinoceros.
Oh, yeah, I was going to pick the rhinoceros.
No, you don't pick the rhinoceros. Your turn to pick something is coming up right now.
Okay, let's pick. Time to pick a thing.
What's going to be your favorite element on the periodic table?
My
Let's see what it is.
favorite element is this one.
Gallium? Going with the gallium.
I thought it stood
I'm
for
pretty
Lady
sure
Gaga.
G is gallium. Call me out if I'm wrong, folks.
That's not Lady Gaga element? I thought it was.
All right, I'm going to try to guide Sean through this a little bit further, but while I do this sort of intro bit with him, we're going to throw it over to This Week in Digital Downloads. Just because PSN is down doesn't mean you can't download stuff. And we're going to give you the latest on what exactly there is. Well, sorry.
Technically, you can't download stuff.
Doesn't mean other people can't download stuff.
Yeah.
I even said that in rehearsal, and now I said it again. I'm super professional.
Here's the things to earmark to download at a later date.
Yes.
Yeah.
This Week in Digital Downloads.
What's up, GameSpotters? This is Aaron Sampson bringing you a list of top digital downloads this week on Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. New this week on both XBLA and PSN, run like you've never run before in the Fancy Pants Adventures. Race through dense forests, underwater caverns, and through pirate ships in this action platformer. Stomp, kick, and slash your enemies with 40 melee weapons and an arsenal of moves. Battle pirates, ninjas, a giant penguin, and other masters of evil attempting to arrest your momentum. On XBLA, strap on your jump jets and play Section 8 Prejudice. Prejudice eked out an extra 0.5 from its 2009 predecessor to earn a total score of 7.5. Reviewer Tom McShay found the game to explore well-worn territory, but a long varied campaign, lots of tools, weapons, and vehicles, as well as a dynamic combat mission system, helped it to overcome a generic aesthetic. Players can enjoy a 5-hour single-player campaign and objective-based online warfare with up to 32 players. Next up, old but newly available this week, PSN offers you Final Fantasy IV The Complete Collection for PSP. This set includes Final Fantasy IV with revamped visuals to take advantage of the PSP's widescreen format, as well as its epilogue Final Fantasy IV The After Years. The episodic series of downloadable titles was originally released in 2009 on the Wii. Then XBL lets you break some kneecaps in Mafia 2. Kevin Van Ord found this title to be worthy of an 8.5 grade score for fantastic action set pieces, satisfying shooting and hand-to-hand combat, a brutal and well-acted story, and a beautifully detailed world. Play as Vito Scaletta, who after returning from World War II, decides to put his soldiering skills to bad use for a crime family on the streets of Empire Bay. Fallout New Vegas is also available for download on XBL this week. New Vegas is the second Fallout game on the X360 and took a major hit in score, dropping from the Editor's Choice 9.0 of Fallout 3 to a good 7.5 for disastrous bugs and an uncompelling story. Fortunately for you, Vegas still has a huge detailed world loaded with stuff to do, great side quests, and a choice system with palpable consequences. All that aside, just go out and bonk fools with a piece of rebar stuck in concrete. Also on demand this week on XBL, think twice before dropping your cash on Lost Planet 2. The Accurate are back, and so are environmental suits, as well as some serious global warming that thawed this title to a 5.5 mediocre score. The original Lost Planet Extreme Conditions snagged an 8.1, so ouch. In case you were wondering, the hits came from abysmal friendly and enemy AI, awful mission design, small deadly flaws, and other issues laid out by Kevin Van Ord in the full review. Fortunately, you will find fantastic production values, loads of gameplay variety, and a ton of online content. New DLC worth checking out this week. On XBL, you'll find the Mars table for Pinball FX2 and the Section 8 Prejudice Blitz Pack, which adds more weapons and ammo for the freshly released title. In game trailers, keep an eye out for Portal 2 videos, including the Bot Trust trailer, and the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim official trailer on PSN, the LA Noire gameplay series, Dirt 3 teaser trailer, and Making of Gears 3 dedicated execution video on XBL, and on both systems, the epic 12-minute gameplay video Fault Line for Battlefield 3. That's all for now. Check back next week for our top picks of digital downloads.
And we're back. I'm Maxwell McGee, and we are live, and we're going to be checking out a demo of Darkspore for the PC. And to help me do that, I'm here with Paul, not Matt, Paul Sotosanti,
That's right.
lead designer on the game. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Now, before we dive right in, I've been asked to remind you folks at home to send us your questions through the chat or through Twitter, whatever you like. I will be checking it out periodically throughout the demo. So let's dive right in. What is Darkspore all about?
So first off, Darkspore is not an expansion pack or not a sequel to Spore. It's its own game. What it is an online sci-fi action RPG. Two things that kind of set it apart from the rest of the genre. The first one is collection. So in traditional RPGs, you take one hero, you're going to level them up to level 40, level 100, you keep that one guy. In Darkspore, you actually collect up to 100 different heroes, and there's 25 unique heroes with 4 variants of each, and you'll take them and put them into squads of 3, bring them down to the planet, and then switch between them as the gameplay kind of dictates. So it's kind of like having 3 lives, and you can bring maybe a healer, maybe a DPS, different things like that. And then the other thing is customization. So because we took the creature editor from Spore, which kind of everybody agrees was the most successful part of that game, we're able to offer an unprecedented level of customization in this genre. So you can take your heroes and, in a traditional RPG, you would get a shoulder pad and it goes on your shoulder. You can't move it around at all. In Darkspore, you can take that, put it anywhere on your hero, and you can really express yourself and make these really interesting heroes that you wouldn't be able to do in any other game.
All right, very cool. So tell us about what we are taking a look at here. I understand we're looking at some co-op action.
Exactly. So we have 2 people playing right now on our beta live. There are a couple thousand people on the beta right now, and these are some of the developers. So they're in a level right now. This is a level called Verdanth. There are 5 different Genesis types in the game, and they sort of inform what the different heroes are like, what the different enemies are like, and in this case, what the planet is like. So this is what we call a biogenesis planet. So you're going to see a lot of life, forests, as you can see. It's a very lush planet. And we've got 2 heroes playing right now. We've got Arachna and we've got Goliath. And if you look down in the lower right of the screen, you can see that there are 3 different heroes that they have access to. And they're actually able to switch whenever they want to one of those other heroes.
So Ice Midget from the chat over here wants to know, can you tell us exactly how many heroes are in the game? Or maybe give us a round figure?
Yeah, totally. There's 100 different heroes. 25 of those are completely unique. They have completely different looks and completely different abilities from all the other ones. And then there's 4 variants of each. So as you play through the game, you'll unlock different variants of the heroes that allow you to get a different ability. They have a different aesthetic appearance. And they also have different stats that they start with.
So can you tell us about the different classes of heroes? There's like robot guys and zombie dudes.
Yeah, exactly. So there's 5 Genesis types. So this is a bioplanet, like I said. That hero up there, Arachna, in the center of the screen, is a spider hero. She's a necro class, or necro type hero. So necro is all about death, draining life from enemies, that sort of thing. And then the robot that you see with him is Cyber Genesis. So that's one of the things we really like about being sci-fi, is that we can do a lot of different things with the heroes. We can do a lot of things that a fantasy game can't do. We can kind of, anything we could imagine, we could put into the game. And that was really awesome. Quantum Genesis is another type that sort of deals with space-time, deals with gravity, pulling enemies back and forth and stopping time.
So in addition to cooperative play, you can also do PvP in the game, is that correct?
Yeah, correct. So you can play co-op 4-player in PvE, and then for PvP we have 1v1 and 2v2 battles. You can queue up, there's a matchmaker, so you can join up with a party and matchmake against other people 2v2, or you can just go in and fight solo. The PvP is really interesting because you can switch between 3 different heroes, which actually gives a lot of play to the strategy in the game.
And then the heroes, they have their own like squad abilities, so you want to set up like combos between all these different heroes.
Yeah, exactly. If you look up at the screen when we show it again, there's actually the 3 abilities on the right. Those are your squad abilities, and those are actually granted to the squad through the different heroes that you put into it. So because he has a plasma hero on the left of his squad, he gets that ability Plasma Wreath in the 3 slot, and any of his heroes can use that. So you can actually set up different combos. There's a lot of sort of decisions even before you get into the game about which different heroes you want to put into your squad, and that has a huge effect on how the game's going to play out.
So let's talk about the enemies and the enemy placement. It's going to be different every time depending on if you're playing solo or if you're playing cooperative.
Yeah,
You've got like
exactly.
an AI director type thing going on.
Exactly. We were really inspired by Left 4 Dead. That's a game where they only have a few different maps, but people keep playing over and over again. And we thought a lot about doing random map generation, but at the end of the day, we decided that let's just make the maps look really awesome. Let's allow our artists to do everything they want to do, make maps that look really good, and then do what really is going to mix up the gameplay, which is make the enemies random. So every time you go to a level, you're going to get a new selection of 6 different enemies that you'll be fighting out of the 96 different enemies that we have in the game. There's tons and tons of different combinations. And then the AI director will place them in the level differently depending on how you're doing. And they'll scale up and down depending on how many players you have.
Now, if I remember correctly, you guys have like a system where players can build their own enemies using like the Spore creature and then submit them and then possibly have them featured in the game. Is that something y'all are still doing?
Yeah, exactly. We run contests when we can. Actually, we had what we call the Darkspore Day event recently where we invited some press to come out to the studio, and we had a contest where they designed some NPCs. We're going to be putting those into the game shortly. But yeah, we wanted to involve the Spore community in the game and allow them to sort of contribute to the game. So.
All right, very cool. It looks like we're taking a look at the Spore creature editor right now. Can you tell us more about what we're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody who's played Spore will recognize this, although it's been given a facelift. This is the Darkspore hero editor, we call it. So right now, we're editing Blitz. He's one of our Plasma Genesis heroes, which I didn't talk about, but that's kind of like a fire lightning type thing. So right now we're putting on a weapon. And again, so you've got 6 different slots on your hero. You have your weapon, your feet, and your hands. And those are fixed. So you put a weapon on, it's going to go on your wrists. or wherever that hero has his weapon. But if you put on those other 3 slots, the offense, defense, utility, you have complete freedom over where you want to put them. So he can
So I
move them
can't just
around.
have like a giant spear sticking straight out of my chest
Yeah,
or anything like that.
we had to make the animations work, right? We can't animate weapons that could be sticking anywhere. You know, we did want to draw back on the creativity a little bit just to allow our animators.
Creative limitations.
Exactly, and we find that giving people those constraints actually allows them to be almost more creative and allows them to create things that they're really proud of. You know, in Spore, when we give you a blob, it's actually pretty tough to take that and make something awesome if you're not creative and make something that you're happy to show off to your friends. But in Darkspore, we give you something that's already amazing, you know, already looks really good, and then you're just building on that. So no matter what, people are really excited to show their stuff off, and people in the beta have already made these incredible heroes. So you can see right now he's in the painting, so he's looking at the skin coat. You can change the color of that skin coat, you can select different patterns that will paint onto your guy. Now he's looking at the skin detail, so you can change the color of his parts and sort of the details, the spikes on his back, and also the patterns of those. So again, tons of customization that's available in this game. Really unprecedented in the genre. I don't think there's any action RPG out there that has this level of customization.
So Decius in the chat wants to know how you guys are handling loot in the game. Are you going to be collecting it while you're out in the wild, or do you get loot at the end of the match? How does that work?
Actually, a little of both. So when you're playing in the game, you know, every action RPG player loves getting loot off guys. They want to kill a guy, see that loot explode out. We totally have that. So as you're playing, you'll collect loot off the ground, and then if you're playing 4-player, the loot is actually automatically randomly distributed. So everybody gets a roll on every item. You know, it's a little different than
So you don't have to get in big fights with your friends over who got the fancy spear or
Exactly. It's a little different than other RPGs in that everybody can kind of use everything, right? You know, in Diablo, if you're a sorceress and spear drops, you can't use that. Just give it to your friend. Who cares? But in this game, everybody can unlock Blitz. Everybody can unlock Goliath. So every item kind of has a use for every player. So we wanted to just not let people not worry about that. Get that out of the gameplay and let it just handle itself. And then at the end of the level, you're actually rewarded bonus loot when you finish a level. And we have a sort of risk versus reward system. So each time you finish a level, you're presented with, here, you've unlocked a level 21 piece of loot. But then you're given a choice. You can continue on to a harder level, and then you'll get 2 level 22 pieces of loot, or you can cash out and just take the 1. However, if you fail, continue on and fail, you lose everything. So, you know, you keep your DNA, you keep your XP, and you keep the items you found in the level, but you lose all that bonus stuff. So we really, you know, there's been kind of a trend in games these days where dying, you know, isn't a big deal. It's just kind of like people don't care because dying doesn't matter, so they just kind of run in. We really wanted there to be some adrenaline in this game, some intensity. So dying has a cost. You have to think about, you know, what your strategy is going to be. Can you take on that next level? Discuss with your friends. Think about which squad you want to bring.
So let me ask you, how did you guys decide to move from like Spore, which was this big sort of high concept, multifaceted strategy game, over to Darkspore, which is more of a hack and slash action game? Where did that idea come from?
Yeah, it's a bit of a twist for Maxis to be making an action RPG game, no question. It's basically a function of who was there on the team after Spore. There was 3 core guys, Thomas Fu, Stephen Lim, and Tom Bowie, who all play these sorts of games. They play action RPGs. They love playing games with each other, with their friends. And they looked at Spore and they said, what's the best part of Spore? You know, what sort of things should we use in our next game? And it was definitely the creature editor. You know, everybody agrees the creature editor was the best part of Spore. And so they took that and they were like, what genre should we make? And then they thought RPG, that would be awesome. You know, customization, you know, allow yourself to be completely unique, completely different from every other hero out there. So basically the short story is they made a game that they wanted to play. You know, they were super excited about it, and then they brought people onto the team. They hired on some Diablo 3 people who worked on at Blizzard, and they hired me from Wizards of the Coast. I used to work on Magic the Gathering, so I have a lot of experience with, you know, taking a lot of different diverse elements and then putting them into combinations.
A giant system and having it all make sense and balance out a little bit.
Yeah, exactly, balancing all that stuff. So
EJ902 from the chat wants to know how the items and different aesthetic options you have for your character, how are those going to impact their gameplay?
Yeah, so we use a loot system that's sort of inspired by a little bit by Diablo, a little bit by World of Warcraft, a little bit by Borderlands. You know, we see a lot of good games with good loot systems out there. We took a little bit of each of those. But basically, those items that you pick up in the level, they have stats on them. We've got strength, dex, and mind are your sort of core stats. And those lead into crit, you know, dodge, all the things you would sort of expect, resist, health and power is sort of our equivalent of mana. And so every item that you put on your hero is going to affect those core stats. So you can totally change the gameplay of your hero by putting on different items. You can make a tank hero. You can make a hero that, you know, crits all the time. And we have 3 different classes of heroes as well. So these guys are both playing Ravagers right now. Ravagers are our dex-based heroes. They benefit the most from dex. We also have Sentinels. Those are kind of your tank-based heroes. And we also have Tempests, who are sort of your mind-based heroes. In addition, in the editor, we actually have the concept of detail slots, which is you can actually take items that you found. So there's a problem in a lot of RPGs where you'll find an item, it'll be really awesome, you know, you'll love it, you'll put it on, and you love the look of it, and then you find another item that's better than that, and it's like, oh, now I have to take off that
All
item.
of a sudden, you don't get to have your giant fancy
Exactly, you
shoulder
got those
pads
crazy
anymore.
saw blades on your
Yeah.
shoulders or whatever, and now you got to take them off, and that sucks. So what we did was we came with the concept of detail items, which you can strip the stats off of a part and then put it into a detail slot, and now you never have a reason to take it off again because it doesn't matter for your stats. Keep that on forever. So if you find wings that you really love, keep those on for the entire lifetime of your hero. You can move them around between your heroes. And again, we really wanted like creativity to not come first. You know, gameplay totally matters too. The stats are really important, but to actually service both of those needs.
So let's set up sort of the story for Darkspore. I understand it has something to do with the progenitors and a wild science experiment gone awry.
Yeah, exactly. So there's an ancient race known as the progenitors, and they were sort of experimenting with DNA, and they created something called exponential DNA, which was super powerful, but of course, as always happens in these things, became unstable. And
Something's got to go wrong.
Exactly. So there's a guy named Xylan, he's the corruptor, and he just basically became mad, you know, went insane and started taking over the galaxy with this power, this exponential DNA. He injected himself with it. And everybody else couldn't stop him, but they didn't want to use exponential DNA to stop him because that would just create more of the same. So they actually ended up going into cryosleep. And you went to sleep for a few thousand years until the computers actually managed to stabilize eDNA. And then they wake you up, and now that you're using that stabilized DNA to create your own army of heroes, genetically enhanced heroes to take on Xylan, the corruptor. And in the campaign, you can play the campaign single player. You can play it co-op. You can go back and forth between the two. And there's movies. You know, each time you go to a new planet, you'll get a movie telling you about how the story is moving along. And yeah, you can play through with your friends.
So I understand this game has been out in beta for a while now. The release is right around the corner. What has the response been like from the beta? What sort of feedback have you guys gotten?
We've been really thrilled with the beta, actually. You know, yeah, like I said, we've had a few thousand people playing constantly. Right now we're in open beta, so anybody can jump on. We actually delayed the launch of the game by a month because of the beta feedback. People had a lot of things that they want to fix. We really wanted to address those concerns. So we actually pushed back the launch, and we've put in a bunch of things that people have asked for. We've addressed replayability a little bit. You know, we've always built this game from the ground up for replayability. We have people playing for 50 or 100 hours in the beta, even though there's a low cap. But even to go further with that, we've added a randomized objective system. So each time you play a level, there's 5 different objectives. In the beginning, it was just fixed. You know, it was always the same 5. So people would write guides, and they were like, this is how you do it. And then people would get all gold medals. And we love that people are writing guides, but it was a little too easy for them. So now we mix it up, and each time you play, you've got different objectives. Now there's a little bit more to figure out. Each time you go into a level, you kind of have to think about what you want to do that time.
All right, Paul. Well, I've got one more question for you. Can you remind the kids at home when Darkspore is coming out?
Yeah, absolutely. So Darkspore comes out next Tuesday. It's April 26th. So we're excited. Can't
Wonderful.
wait.
Well, thank you for stopping by and chatting with us.
All right, thanks a lot.
So there you have it, folks. That is a look at Darkspore. We're going to kick it now to an interview with our very own Sean McGinnis on Dirt 3. So let's jump to that.
Interview.
Hey folks, Sean McGinnis here alongside Andy Gray from Codemasters, who's here to tell us all about Dirt 3, a game that we're having a look at here tonight. Andy, so with the previous game, Dirt 2, it was sort of taking that core driving model that you guys created in the original Dirt game and sort of adding a festival atmosphere, a little bit more of an exciting vibe to it. What sort of direction are you guys going with Dirt 3?
So Dirt 3 is kind of like a culmination of the best parts of Dirt 1, the best parts of Dirt 2, plus this new thing in Gymkhana as well. Very much going back to the roots of a franchise in terms of rallying is the core mode of the game. It's what you spend 60% of your career doing, but also keeping some of that the more lifestyle angles, stuff like Rallycross, which worked really, really well in Dirt 2, and then bringing in Gymkhana as well.
Can you talk about walking that balancing act between, appealing to sort of an action sports crowd as well as, making sure that the pure hardcore racing fans are enjoying this game as well?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say with Dirt 2 we probably went a little bit too far in the direction away from our traditional fan base and traditional kind of way that we've had our rally games going. So it was very much listening to our community, to reviews, to pretty much anything we get our hands on, all saying we want more rally, we want more rally. So we feel like we've really addressed that in Dirt 3.
Now, you guys are still a studio that knows how to have some fun, and that's pretty evident in these multiplayer modes that you guys are showing off tonight. let's talk about these multiplayer modes because they're quite a step away from traditional sort of time trial based modes. Looks like you guys really had a lot of fun sort of designing these, right?
Yeah, exactly. We wanted to get Gymkhana in there, so we started out building this, taking on Battersea, which we had in Dirt 2, and building that into what we're calling the DC compound. It's kind of a playground area if you just go and learn some skills, learn some tricks. But then the more we sort of played with that area, the more evident it became that we could do some quite cool things with it. And we wanted to have a way for people to play racing games in a multiplayer situation that's not just about who's the fastest, who's going to get to the line first, because there's some people who are immensely skilled at racing games and you just stand no chance of beating them. So the whole new party modes we've got are very much more about irreverent, kind of just before you go out, or if you've got 10 minutes to spare you can just jump in, play a bit of one of the different party modes, just enjoy it. So we've got 3 in the DC compound. There's Invasion, which is Battersea's being attacked by killer robots. You've got to smash into them and avoid skyscrapers. There's Outbreak, which has been termed kind of like zombie mode, but it's one of the cars becomes infected and you have to challenge them down. It becomes a game tag. And then there's also a capture the flag style mode where the flag appears in different areas and you've got to take it to different bases around the level, which is called Transporter. Just something new for racing games really in the multiplayer space.
And even as irreverent as these game modes are, there's still quite a bit of strategy to be found in there because you're still driving like real life cars on real life track locations. Can you talk about the sort of experience that you've had with these game modes, as you've played them and seen them in real world settings compared to those original like off the wall ideas that originally came about?
Yeah, I think what we've seen today is as soon as you start playing it, you get people shouting and going, it gets a really good atmosphere going. We found that in the office as well. It annoys quite a lot of the other people in there when the guys are all playing like in multiplayer testing. So that's exactly what we were looking for, that kind of really loud reaction, the kind of reactions you get with other sports games, like in UK everyone plays FIFA or PES, and be the same over here with something like Madden, that you have that instant reaction when you're playing a game together, like cheering and really enjoying the game just as soon as you get into it.
Now, how does the track design and the choice of locales complement these new game modes?
Well, the party modes are all based in Battersea, but there's 3 different areas within Battersea, so we've built those areas with these kind of party modes and tricks and all that kind of thing in mind. So there's different levels so that you can go and hide at a higher level or a lower level, or there's things like containers that you can go and hide in, or different things like bollards and cones and all that kind of thing that you can then drift around to get away from people. So just lots of things to put in between you and the guy that's infected, or someone that's chasing you down, or avoid someone who's trying to tag into you when you've got the flag. So it's just really enabled us to do something quite new.
Now, how about the more traditional multiplayer modes? What do you guys have in store there?
Well, there's online multiplayer in basically anything in the game, so that goes from rallycross, Gymkhana, raid, so all the kind of game disciplines that you'd expect, even with back to head, which is the concentric circuit racing. And then also 2-player split screen as well on all of those game modes, so you can do 2-player Gymkhana on the same course, which is really a lot of fun, because me and one of the guys in the office were playing it the other day and doing donuts literally within inches of each other. It just looked fantastic.
All right, well, if nothing else, you guys have certainly proved that racing games can do quite well with a zombie multiplayer mode, and I have to commend you guys so much for that. It's a lot of fun. One last question I've got for you before I let you go. When is Dirt 3 going to be out in stores, and which platforms is it going to be out for?
So Dirt 3's out on PC, PS3 and Xbox 360 on May 24th.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, there you guys have it. Dirt 3 coming out soon.
Give me that box.
No.
Come over here and take it now.
No.
Hey, folks,
You
we're back.
can't have
Sean and I
that.
are playing Portal 2 again. Reminder, we got game night coming up. We'll be playing Portal 2 and Mortal Kombat with all y'all on the 360 and PC. I think we'll get some Portal on the PC as well. But yeah, we're back. Sean,
We are back,
You were
Chris.
talking about Dirt 3 just then, huh?
Yeah, I was talking to a dude about some dirt.
Yeah.
That's a so that's a
Zombie
racing
cars?
game with a zombie mode in it.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. Folks, if you have any questions about that Dirt 3, Sean's right here. And as you saw before, he was it the same haircut this time? Did you
That was
switch
the
it up?
same haircut?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
He is here to answer your questions if you want. We're live, so tweet them to us to @GameSpot or get into the chat room and let us know. So, we're here in the co-op mode, which is new for Portal 2,
Yes.
as you may know, and it's sort of this very cool, team up. You're we've each acquired our own portal gun. Again, this is very early in the cooperative campaign, so you won't be seeing any spoilers here. There's not going to be any campaign spoilers. The campaign's really something single player you want to play and experience for yourself. But right now, go in there. Come on.
Oh.
I'm pointing there.
Sure.
So as you can see, I'm also sort of gesturing here. These little eyeballs keep appearing on screen. It's one of these handy tools you use to communicate with people, the person that you're playing with, so that you don't have to be on the headset yelling at them. We'll just pause here to appreciate the confetti for a tutorial. Well done.
Oh, hey, look.
Yay. Oh, yeah.
How do we hug?
Nope, we can high five.
How do we hug?
We haven't unlocked hugs yet.
Wait, hold on.
We can
get
high
this
fives.
close-up shot of my robo junk.
That is not part of the test.
You want to get, okay, here we go. So here we have Peabody, this tall, skinny one. That's who Sean's playing as. Jumping around here. Now I'm Atlas. Come on, give me. What? We're not going to inspect Atlas and his robo parts. Yeah. Woohoo! Here I am. Check out the rear exhaust port. Just not dirty.
Just checking out your
it's
robo
technical,
butt.
It's science.
That's
don't worry
definitely
about
a robot butt.
And then we go into these
resume playing the game
here, and they disintegrate us and take us on to the next areas. And speaking of on to the next areas,
you can see through my robot butt right now.
Well, yeah, it's being taken apart. It's being taken apart. That's how it goes down.
That's where my robo soul is stored.
Well, they take out the robo soul and then pipe it into the next area. It's all very technical.
My life essence is stored in that robot butt.
Someone please write that down on a quote page somewhere. That was good. His life essence stored in robot butt. All right, folks. While Sean and I continue to slug away here at the just unsufferable grind that is Portal 2. Joke. We've got another look at a driving game. This one, not so much zombies, but there's a lot of speed, there's a lot of off-roading, and from what I hear, a new first-person perspective. Let's take a look at this look at
MX versus ATV Alive.
Thank you, Sean. Way to come in clutch. MX versus ATV Alive.
Interview.
Hey folks, Sean McGinnis here talking MX versus ATV Alive alongside Elliot Olson, lead designer on the project. Elliot, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
All right, so Elliot, we talked to you a while ago about this sort of ambitious DLC strategy behind the game and some of the single player features of the game, but today you guys are revealing multiplayer, which sort of begs the obvious question. What sort of new features are you guys trying to do in multiplayer here? What's sort of your focus this time around?
Yeah, the cool thing with multiplayer this time around is it fits right into our progression system that we talked about last time. So as you start out, there's only going to be certain playlists available to you, and that's kind of cool both ways. Is one, as a new player, you're not going to be a bunch of fast guys initially, and you're going to unlock new playlists to go along and play on the bigger bikes and the better ATVs. That's really cool. The private playlists are really good to set up your own matches, but we went through and really fixed a lot of the issues and the connection stuff that we had last time, so I think a lot of our returning players are going to notice that and have a much better time playing online.
What are some of the real, fundamental gameplay changes or additions or, real tweaks or whatever that you guys are implementing into the game? And obviously those are going to work single player and multiplayer, but how does that change the game multiplayer-wise?
Yeah, so, with our whole bar banging system and fixing the collisions, that's perfect for online. With latency and everything else, a lot of times people have issues touching other people. They're scared. So online, you just a lot better, closer racing, and it also fits into our progression system. You're racing online, you're going to be unlocking all your parts, your gear, your riders and everything. And just the experience is going to be awesome, and people should have a lot of fun.
How do you go about balancing people's natural desire to smash into one another and try to hurt each other as much as possible? Because originally we were all cavemen at one point. How do you balance that with keeping a clean race, keeping some rules in there?
The funny thing is with that, and you get a lot of flack well, you made the collisions better, so people are just going to grief a bunch of people, and you're always going to have a couple of those people. But now that the scale is better, the racing's better. People are really just going to continue racing. When that was a problem before, because you would end up wrecking, have to start over, your race was over, you get all bummed out. So now the race just continues. So, you're going to have a couple people do that, but for the most part, people are just going to be racing hard, and that's just part of making it authentic.
Have the new control systems, the new bar bang, has that influenced track design in any way? The way you guys lay out those corners in there, or any sort of intersections between players?
Yeah, I think that's what's going to be the biggest change for a lot of our returning players online, is that, you're going to have to get used to using the brakes. Our deformation is still there. And you're just going to be racing the tracks a lot different than you had in the past. And then you throw online into that component, people are going to be using a lot different lines and trying to pick their way through the track. It's not a wide open race anymore. It's not just go as fast as you can go. you're going to really have to learn where to go fast and where to slow down.
Before I let you go, Elliot, any general tips or strategies for when people do get their hands on the game to make sure that they get the most out of this as they can?
Yeah, I mean, really the biggest thing is just play the game how you want to play it. You know, if you're a new player, jump into a free ride, get used to the controls. We have a system there to kind of help you along when you're racing. For the returning players, you know, deflate your ego a little bit. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just you're going to have to relearn a few things and learn how to use the brakes and level up your bike so you can get back to going fast. In the end, I think a lot of people are going to be faster in this game just because it's a lot easier. You know, we get a lot of questions of, well, you made it easier, so everybody's going to be this level. No, it's just as deep as it was before, if not more. And so, yeah, you're just going to have to put your time in.
All right, sounds good. One last question for you. When is the game going to be out in stores, and which platforms is it out for?
Yeah, so we're going to be worldwide in May, so May 10th in the States, and it'll be on the 360 and the PS3, so pick it up.
Thanks a lot, Elliot. There you guys have it. MX versus ATV Alive coming out next month.
And there's your look at MX versus ATV Alive. Now, the chat room is alive with people wondering when we're giving stuff away. Well, we have trivia today, Sean.
That is correct, Chris. Correct, Chris.
It sure is.
I got that.
What do you got? What do we have here?
Well,
Come
Chris,
on.
we've
Tell 'em what we
got
got
20 copies of the PSP remake of the classic Tactics Ogre that we are ready and willing to send to you guys, provided you get a question correct.
Yes, and we also have Darkspore t-shirts. Questions aren't coming right now because we've got one more segment for you. Now, if you have been watching On the Spot since the beginning, you have been privy to the epic clash that occurred between me, Sean, and David Jaffe. This, folks, I'm talking about super button mashing. And today, nay, a mere seconds from now, we are going to see the epic conclusion of this Clash of the Titans. Sean, any last words before we see how it all pans out?
I just want to say that, you know, despite what happens with the final results,
no spoilers.
Of this button mashing, I like to think that we're all winners for having competed with David Jaffe.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the man had a category named after him.
He did.
Hello? Didn't say McGinnis or Waters up there.
No, it didn't.
That's next episode. No, that's not going to happen.
That would have been stupid.
So we've got Super Button Mashing Round 3, the finals, the epic showdown to roll for you now.
Time to mash buttons. When I say button, you say mashing button. Mashing button. Mashing button. Mashing button. You're gonna get You're gonna get Super Button Mashing coming at ya.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Super Button Mashing. I'm your host, Ryan McDonald, for the premiere episode of Button Mashing. It's only because Sean can't host and also be a contestant, but that aside, we're getting into round 3 today. If you've been watching round 1, round 2, you know that today is the day that we're gonna crown a champion of the first episode of Super Button Mashing. So, super excited. David Jaffe has been holding on to a narrow lead with 130 points, and Sean McGinnis isn't too far behind with 110 points. And then we've got Chris Waters, who's closing the gap with 100 points. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to some Super Button Mashing. Round 3, Consolation Round. Today, our consolation round consists of 3 events. Contestants will first get behind the wheel in Gran Turismo 5, racing down this dirt track on the Alpine course. Once crossing the finish line, they'll step over and pick up the sharpshooter to play Killzone 3. They'll have to kill 3 Hellgas before moving on to the final event, in which they'll have 20 seconds to fly a AR drone across the studio and successfully land it on an elevated platform. The player who finishes in first place will get 300 points, second will get 200 points, and third will get 100 points. All right, everybody, this is our 3rd and final round. I'm standing by with David. So, David, you ready for this?
I'm not.
You're not ready for this?
Suck at this game.
You can't drive? No?
I cannot drive Gran Turismo. Give me Burnout. I love Gran Turismo, but it's too hard for me. It's too real.
All right, what about the shooting on the Sure Shot? That's going to be a new experience as well today,
I haven't
right?
played it with the Sure Shot, so it's going to be great.
And then the AR drone challenge.
That I'm going to kick some ass.
Right on. You get to take that thing if you win this. So
do I really?
You really do.
Yeah, the airport's going to love that. Flying up with it.
All right, so without further ado, sir, let's go ahead and do this. So, timer, you ready? Yes. All right, let's go ahead and say in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so you were driving. X button is your gas, sir.
Oh, X button is my gas?
Yes.
And I get twisted metal.
I know, I'm sorry. You need to go. You're doing good. Oh, keep it straight. That's all you gotta do, keep it straight. All right, good. All right, keep going a little bit more. Just like 1 more, 2 more turns. Keep going. Oh, keep going. This is like the one right here. And nope. A little bit more. Oh, you gotta hold it. You're doing good. Oh, you gotta pull it. Get it. Get it back on the course. There you go. You do it. You're doing good. There you go. Don't go too much. A little bit further. little bit more. Almost there. Okay. I'll fix it in post. This is actually not bad. You should see some people when they get to this. Like, this is like tragic. All right, move it on. Let's go shoot some people. All right, get the trigger button next to you.
Sergeant Velasquez, we're glad to see you. You guys see the convoy? You're not it? No, sir.
Copy. Keep pushing for the river.
All you gotta do is kill 3 heligas. Real subtle, that's the trick. Real subtle. Hit that button to zoom in. Hit that button to zoom in.
6 minutes.
All right,
great.
There you go.
We want to fly the drone.
So all you gotta do is fly it from one of these pillars to the other
To
pillar.
this one, all right.
Land it.
With
So
my-
we're gonna have you do it in 20 seconds.
Where am
You
I
got
flying it
20
with? Your
seconds.
iPad?
You're gonna do
Or
it, yeah,
iPhone?
little iTouch.
Okay.
So to take off, you just hit that takeoff button down at the bottom. That'll get you up and running. The right analog stick, or the little right touch stick, that's gonna allow you, so you don't have to pull with that one, that you're pretty much on the path you need to be.
Where's the landing button?
It's the same button you use to take off.
Oh,
so close. Very close, sir. Well, thank you
very
very much.
nice. Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you so
It
much.
was a lot of
Appreciate it.
fun.
Thank you so
There
much.
you go.
All right, everybody, we got our good friend Sean up here, and he is ready. Are you ready for this constellation business?
Ready as ever.
All right, so you got some GT5 racing you got to do. Hold it true, hold it steady, sir. Don't
Okay.
go off the track. Don't spin yourself around. Just go.
All right.
So in 3, 2, 1, and go.
All right, here we go. Let's see if I can do this. I am an expert race car driver. I do dabble in professional racing on the side. Holy heck, that's a fence.
Don't get too squirrely now.
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. Slow and steady wins the race, right? As long as you don't pound into the fences too often.
The real trouble is spin yourself around.
Yeah. Just got to drift.
Oh no! We're at the same spot. You accelerating still?
I'm okay. Yeah, I
Is
think.
it the X button?
Is it the X button?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I was holding R2.
That seemed to throw him off too. I'm like blown away. It's like, when was the X button not the gas button?
I was just using my downward momentum that entire time.
That was pretty amazing. I thought it was a good strategy too. Rock and rolling. Almost there.
Oh, don't get turned
Look
around.
at that.
Don't get
Turn
turned
that
around.
gas pedal now.
I'm gonna get fancy, do a little Scandinavian flick right here. That's a drifting turn.
That's it. There you go.
Here we go. 3 hell gas.
gas.
Okay. Oh god, I've never played this game with news before. Suckers. You're my buddy. You're my buddy.
All right, there you go. There's hell gas. Pretty good. You got one dude. He's down. Give me 2 more. So you found the zoom in button. That was over.
Oh, I see.
Oh, but you don't die.
Oh no!
Oh my goodness, it's gonna take you longer forever.
I'm okay. Did that first one count?
Yes, the first one counts. This is
Okay.
counting right now. The timer is counting.
Am I gonna get
Oh, look at
revived by
that.
my buddy?
But yep, you might get a come up here. You better jack 2 more dudes. Get him. Get him. Get him. There's one dude. Get one more. You got 1 more. Get him. I don't know if you got that.
I didn't
He's
get
not killing you, so. Oh no, he is killing you. Get him.
Oh, nice!
Perfect. Timer.
Style,
What we
that's
got on
3.
the time? How much time was that? 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Very good. That's
All right.
very good. Awesome.
Thank you.
Very good. All right. So now we're gonna get you with the AR drone for the bonus. Think you can do this?
I think, yes. I'm gonna say yes.
You're gonna say yes? You got 20 seconds to land it on that podium over there. If you do land it on that podium in 20 seconds, you get yourself 100 bonus points.
Okay.
So timer begin. You ready? Hit the button.
Holy crap.
3, 2, 1. You got it. Timer's going, sir. You got 5 seconds burned already. Oh, don't go up. That's
no.
bad.
Wait, how do I go forward?
Remember, it's the left one, and then lean it forward. If you want to come down a little bit, bring that guy down. There you go. How we doing on time? You got like 0 time. You better try to put that thing down like now. Hit that land button. Oh my God! You almost. Oh! Get it! You might as well get it at this point. Get on!
Oh no! Hold on!
All right,
I almost had it. That was close. That was close. Thank you.
Very good. All right. So we've got Chris Waters here. We're going to be doing our 3rd round, of course. Are you ready for some GT5s in Killzone?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's say timer. Are you ready?
Do I just
All right.
press like X to start it up?
Literally get it to you push the X button to get it going. So
Okay.
if you are ready, I will say in 3, 2, 1, go. So look at that. All right,
Okay.
Some people weren't privy to where this gas button is. So there you go.
It's cool.
You know what's up?
No. I'm pressing the trigger.
The trigger. Everybody wants to go with the trigger. Why is everybody with the trigger?
I don't know. X button?
X button. Oh, is that why everybody goes with the trigger? Because Forza? Yeah. Bam!
Let's do it. Oh. Yeah, I'm not crashing.
You're not spinning around. You're not getting yourself turned around. You're not getting crazy. Very good.
Okay.
Oh,
that's cool. Steer into it. Maybe.
You're racing
not so much.
If he has his crosshairs,
I mean,
jacking his track, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm going to be making up some time. I hope. Just done yet?
All right, go. Shoot dude, shoot dude, shoot dude.
Okay.
Faster, 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 shooting dudes. Timer is running.
Where are you, Higgs?
There you go. Go subtle.
Oh, I see that.
That's the trick. Go subtle.
Damn, are we glad to see you. You guys seen the convoy? You're not it. No, sir.
Don't see him dying yet. Oh, there you go. Look at him zooming in. All right, Chris.
Get off that turret.
That is one dead. That is two dead. You got one.
How do I duck? How do I duck?
That's the button right next to the trigger. Your other index finger on the other side. Or whatever. You want to duck. You want to kill that dude.
Oh, he's down.
That's it. Timer. What do you got? All right, there were 5 options. You got 129. Congratulations, sir.
You know, I was just biding my time during that first round with the 0 points.
Oh.
I didn't want to, intimidate anybody because.
All right, so before we let you go, we are going to have you, for the hell of it, not that you need the points.
Okay.
But we're going to have you just for the fun of it try to land this little aircraft.
Am I in the danger zone if I stand here?
No, you're good.
All right.
It's just all kinds of safe. So if everybody's ready, let's go ahead and hit in 3, 2, 1, launch. And I've got Jody keeping track.
Okay.
And let's go ahead and land this business. Now you can do 2 ways. One is bring it a little low with that one right-hand stick, or you hit the land button. Hope for the best.
What's my time like?
We got not much. We got.
Oh no!
Get it! Get it!
Turn up!
Get it!
Up! Get up!
Get up! Get up! Might as well just go for it, whatever. You got the boys. You're winning this anyway.
Get up!
Might as well just land this. Land it.
Coming in hot.
There you go. Coming in hot. Whatever. This is awesome.
I'm pressing the land button.
Oh,
no! Damn you!
That was a good shot.
Oh, so close.
Well, thank you, Chris.
That thing was fun. I like that.
We'll create some more fun with that. But yeah, super awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ryan.
Mashing.
I'd like to thank my competitors, Sean McInnes and David Jaffe, for putting up a good, solid fight, and also you guys for allowing me to shine here today.
Well, thank you guys for watching at home. If you want to play along next time, we'll try to make that possible. But who knows? We'll be doing all kinds of fun stuff with button mashing. So I hope you guys are glad it's back. We're glad it's back. So take it easy, everybody.
It's time to when I say button, you say mashing button. You're gonna get super button mashing coming at ya.
Oh, yes. Ah, sweet, sweet victory. Sweet, sweet, ridiculous amount of trophies that I have here. Let's see.
Here's the thing, Chris. There's 3 competitors. You won 3 trophies.
This one you have to hold over your head.
Does that make sense? Why would you get to keep all 3 trophies?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Could you speak up?
It just doesn't make. It just seems incredibly selfish and not like a team player kind of thing to do.
Well, Sean,
3 trophies.
That was an individual competition.
Why would you win all 3?
We reward individual excellence here, and
you know what? I'm keeping this one. I'm keeping the Greg Kasavin
Greg
trophy.
K. All right. You know what? That's okay. I'll get that from you later. Folks, now that you've seen me win all these things that we totally didn't just have lying around the office, it's time for you to win some trivia prizes from us. As talked about before, we're giving away Tactics Ogre, like 20 of these?
Like 1 million of them.
That's
literally.
That is such an
That was a lie.
exaggeration.
20. We're giving away 20 copies.
Yeah, okay. Tactics Ogre, highly critically acclaimed, rated 9.0, editor's choice by GameSpot.com. Sean, why don't you lay the question right onto them?
I'm about to lay just like a big old question. Right? Okay, I'm not gonna.
It's right
gross.
here.
Gross, gross. Yep. Why did you make me say that? Anyways, the question I have for you is, what is the name of the system that lets you go back in time and change the choices you make in Tactics Ogre's story? If you think you know the answer, either send us an email to onthespot@gamespot.com or use that little green answer a trivia button that you should see immediately off to the side of the page here.
Yeah, we appreciate the enthusiasm when you guys give the answers in the comments.
Yeah, but
you're
the
not gonna
comments,
win anything.
no. Also, don't send it on Twitter. That's not really going to help you either.
Also
in
not
fact,
gonna
it's just going to give people the answer so that they can send it in the correct way.
Yes. Now, our second trivia prize is a Darkspore t-shirt. These are, let's see, we got American Apparel. Got a couple different sizes actually here, so be sure to include your size with your answers. Darkspore, yeah, check it out. Maxis, boom. Now, if you want to win one of these t-shirts, here is the question for you. What is the name of the ancient race of scientists that created the Darkspore? Again, you know where to answer that. Use the module, do the email, on the spot, gamespot.com thing. All right, no.
What?
All right, fine. You can hold on to
There's
them
a
for
rule
a second.
change. They went back in, they found out that you cheated.
Did they?
They found out that you were
did they figure that
an
out?
AR copter pilot back in NAM. And
I
so
almost had that
you
thing
didn't
landed.
have.
It was tough to
wasn't
see
a fair
because
contest.
that pillar was, you know, transparent. There was really a pillar there, folks. And we both came pretty close. Although I'm way better at killing Hellgas than you.
You are, well, with a PlayStation Move remote, I
yes,
think.
on a boat,
But
in
not
a boat,
like a real gun.
Always.
I'm better at killing Hellgas with a real gun. I've done it, and I'll do it again.
Questionable. All right, folks, that brings us to the end of our show here. Now, before you go, a few reminders. Those of you who've been visiting the site this week will have noticed that Sync has been totally live this week. Jody Robinson has been bringing you the latest every day, Monday through Friday. Got a new episode up today and tomorrow and all next week. Be sure to keep checking that out. Of course, we'll be back with another Live on the Spot next Thursday. But if you're sticking with us here live today, we're going to be transitioning right into Community Game Night. We're going to be playing Portal 2. We're going to be playing Mortal Kombat. And so stick around. You'll see Sean and I play for a little bit before the whole thing gets started in about half an hour. For those of you watching on the archive version of the stream, watching this on demand, hey, thanks for watching. And, you know, thanks to you, Sean, for now hoarding all of my trophies.
There was a second rule change. They found out that complete jerks were disqualified from the competition.
Really?
So you should have never been allowed to compete, and therefore I am the new winner.
That just like makes you the default winner there?
Yeah.
You're going to
that's how
hold
that
on to
works.
all those?
All these trophies.
I worked hard for those, Sean. And
Sorry.
we're gonna fight it out in Mortal Kombat to see when you give those back to me, now or later.
That's perfect, because that's a game that we're both really good at.
Super good. All right, folks, that's coming up next. But for all the folks here in the GameSpot studios, I've been your host, Chris Waters. Thanks to my co-host, Sean, Tom Magrino, Maxwell McGee, and all the folks backstage for bringing this show to you. And now, it's on to game night. Sean, let's do this.
Okay, let's do this.
Let's get some controllers
Let's,
going here.
maybe get rid of
This is
these
happening.
stupid trophies.
Yep, the combat is going to be mortal.
All right.